Unbelievable. That footage finished straight from Glen's camera. That must have been electric, man.
Oh,
Lingard,
man, yeah. It was
Ronaldo,
the best, Roddy. Better than sex when I was. I'm not messing. It was unbelievable. It was from start to finish. Just like the place was just rocking in and around the stadium, man. From the minute it arrived, people were just buzzing. And I know I've been there a couple of times, like, and it was just the best buzz that I've ever experienced around the place. It felt like something major was happening. There was a big turn, like, do you know what I mean? And I felt like even before the game, I was like, we're not going to lose this game. We're not going to lose it. It was just that air of inevitability about it. It was unbelievable. It was, yeah, some experience.
We knew you were going, Glen, but I didn't know you were going to be sitting in the Stretford end.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah, like.
I didn't know either, boys. I got handed me ticket, and you know, because you're on this the coach and boat and all that, so you get handed your ticket. I just went there, you know what I mean? Tried to find a pub and all, and then I was just going and just says, "What's the story?" Had a look, and I was like, "That can't be right," because I was going down the middle of the tunnel, and I just said to your man that the steward, I was like, "What's the story with that?" And he was like, "Yeah, just down there into the Stretford end." I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I had on the row on the ticket it has row AA. But if you're in like the Aviva or something, that's miles up the top. So I was expecting to be up in the nosebleeds, which I like. I was saying that to you the other day, Ray, wasn't I? I don't really like But when I got down and then you see like the likes of the Hayat and all training in front of you, I was like, is this happening or what? It was like Christmas, birthdays.
It was right where they warm up.
Huh? Right where they warm up, Ray, yeah. It was just sitting there, like, you know, people were calling their names, we were standing there waving at them and all, like, I was bleeding mad. Some buzz, but unbelievable,
Glenn. I was looking through your videos, man, and the atmosphere is electric.
Yeah, Rory, that's what I'm saying. The ground was shaking, man. It was vibrating, like, from the minute it got full, everyone was just on a mad one, like, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And like that song Viva Ronaldo was saying right throughout. It was like he was the only player on the pitch. Yeah, we got 20 times in, we got Ollie in, all that Bruno and all, but Ronaldo's show went from start to finish. It was mad.
Unbelievable. And you know, you were saying I didn't know that the stadium was that electric beforehand, but Ronaldo had said in his interview before the game he was very nervous.
I'd say they could hear us from the tunnel, like in the dressing room and all. I'm telling you, I'd say it was like the times where gladiators used to go out in the Coliseum and fight. That's what it was like. There was just that thump around the place. Like everyone was just buzzing. It was like we were all like witnessing. So we did witness something special, but it was just like I don't think you'll ever witness something like that again. Someone coming back to the club that left the greatest player in the world and has come back at 36. The greatest player in the world. Do you know what I mean? It was just.
I felt him nervous. Because usually when the camera's on him, he's kind of just like, you know, pouting his lips and all, and you know, giving the wink and all to the camera. He was actually just like trying to turn around, and you could feel he was nervous. So when he said that, I thought that was deadly. When he actually said that, like I was mad nervous. I was like, yeah, I could see that.
I feel like, you know, I could be miles off the mark, right? And I know every player turns around and says, "Oh, look, you know, I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to be back." I felt that it's just me. It's probably something stupid to say, but I just feel like that there was probably an air of regret about him being away for so long. That's the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like 12 years is an awful long time. I don't know what the situation was when he was leaving Madrid to go to Juventus, like, but I reckon there was an air of doubt in him saying maybe if I had came back, you know, when I went to Juve, like, because we did only have him for 2 or 3 years, but by the looks of him yesterday, he could go on longer, man. It's mad.
He said something that was mad that I thought was very honest, where he said, you know, a lot of people were saying, like, doubting me and sort of creeping in my own head, can I do it in this league at 36 and to get off the mark like that or something? It was very honest from him, you know. And it's not really like Ronaldo, but you can tell where his mindset was, like at that particular time, where he was kind of like, Jesus, this is the toughest league I've played in, and I'm 36. I'm not the same player, and now the pressure's on me. When I was watching the game, the miss he had and all at the start, where he kind of missed the ball. You know, that was a little bit, what's happening here? That's not like Ronaldo, and then boom out. Do you know what I mean?
Tell that they were nervous. So after he said that,
definitely.
Was like, oh, that's what that was. Like, because I think there was one before that as well. There was a little flick or something that didn't pull off or something.
Yeah. He's still trying to steal his like little flicks and tricks and all, trying to take on players. I said
Step
like,
overs and all, yeah, he done
yeah,
step
yeah.
over to create the box and everything, like it was vintage stuff. It was,
And with Sancho beside him as well, another fella that likes to, throw the tricks in. That was just perfect timing, man. I think that, like you said there, I think he would have wanted to go to Juventus and try a different league. But if you're looking at his career now, 36, people will have question marks over that. No doubt, no matter who you are. But just because, the stars aligned and we got him when we need him and when he needs us,
Yeah,
think it's
exactly.
perfect.
We think it was actually Zlatan had a few comments about Ronaldo going back to United.
Yeah, he said something about Rooney doing all the running.
Yeah, Rooney doing all
he
the
said
work.
that in 2015, though, boys. That's an old interview. Like he
I
said
was
that. In
thinking that because
2015.
he looked younger.
It's just, yeah, but it's probably Zlatan being Zlatan, and he wants to get his head in somewhere. Like he came to United at what age was he? Like 34, 35. So Ronaldo's coming back at that age, and Zlatan doing very well, and Cavani's doing very well. But when you look at Ronaldo yesterday, like what you said there about having his little bit of doubt tray and everything, like a lot of pundits have been, getting into him a little bit, but that pundits that are nobodies. Like, I mean, the likes of Paul Mason, the league's too good for him. You know what I mean? He's 36. It's not the right move. And he's reinforced that after the match. He was like, Paul Mason was saying something like, he wasn't doing a lot of running and all. But the thing is with Ronaldo, he doesn't need to do a lot of running. And the one thing that was proven to, I think, to everyone watching the match yesterday was that Ronaldo will do it in these games against the likes of Newcastle, which we do struggle in so often. So he was doing
it. Like you could say his first goal was a tap-in and all, but his second goal was that of breaking through the lines and getting ahead of the defender when he's one step, a few yards behind him, to be honest, and getting the ball at the right time, taking one touch out of his feet and finishing with his left through the keeper's legs. That's just vintage.
You could hear him calling for it. You could see him running. You could see that space opening up, and it was mad, right? Because as soon as he seen that space opening up, he was gone. And he was screaming for Luke Shaw to play it to him. The whole crowd are like, give it to him.
Luke Shaw, like in the middle.
Yeah. And you can watch it. The defender gets over to Ronaldo, and he was still able to hold him off that split second and get a shot off. And see, when that one went in, that's when the player felt like we were going into space. I'm not messing because it was at the Stretford end. And it was just like, yeah, Ronaldo can do this sort of thing. He's not just going to be that player that's going to get them little tap-ins on it. You know what I mean? He still has it in his locker to get them type of goals. That was the type of goal he was scoring for Madrid and all in his early days.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The first touch he took on that second goal was very good. It was the ball rolled on his foot, lined into position. I think Woodman probably could have done better, but the pace that he hit,
Lord, the power on it, man. You could hear it. The thud of the ball hitting his boot. He hit that with some velocity. He did, like, do you know what I mean? It was mad. It actually clipped off the keeper, like a little clip made it go up into the net, like, do you know what I mean? There was no stopping that. He was determined, and the celebration, boys, like the fans never seen that. He came up with that celebration after he left. So to see that move in action and to hear it, the whole crowd doing it with him and all was amazing. But like, I think the whole team, I think we done well from start to finish. Really, we were a little bit probably sloppy in the first 10, 15 minutes even. But look, I mean, Varane, he is a beast. I was watching him.
Nearly got a goal as well himself.
Yeah. We look dangerous from set pieces, lads. We do. We look dangerous from them. But I mean, Varane, he's constantly talking, constantly organising, like which is what defenders do and are supposed to do. But he's always at Wan-Bissaka. Always talking to Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, probably needs to be as well.
Right.
No, but yeah, you're right, Glenn. You think the whole team it was a good game from everyone, really. And do you think, lads, Ray say the tempo within the team was lifted a bit, given that Ronaldo was there? Like you might have seen maybe Pogba doing a little bit more, although he has been good at the start of the season. Like, what did Ronaldo
First player to manage 7 Premier League assists in the opening 4 games ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to cut over you, Ray. He walked his bollocks off yesterday, Pogba.
I think he was looking at you when they were celebrating. I think he did that to you or something, did he? At the Stretford end. You don't say about me.
I was saying Santa Claus, right? I was that sweet. I was just like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? But like he was jamming the crowd up and all. There was a time where a Newcastle player went down near the end and he was standing over by the Sir Alex Ferguson stand. He picked the ball up and he was like that to the United fans and all. He turned around and he was talking to people and everything, like, you know what I mean? And it's just like you're talking about the tempo, Rory. I felt like there was a lot of talk about Bruno and Pogba not doing it to get up for Portugal, and I was one of them thinking that as well, because I looked at the World Cup, I looked at him against Ireland in the World Cup qualifiers. Bruno didn't seem himself, so that was a worry. Obviously, a lot of the pundits pick up on that because we were talking about Ronaldo maybe taking something away in the team. But yesterday, I'll have to get this out. There is no way the United fans are going to let anyone take the shine off Bruno at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was like Bruno and Pogba felt the electricity from the crowd. Do you know what I mean? They wanted in on it. It was something that I don't think Bruno and Pogba. Bruno hasn't really played that much in front of a full house because of the COVID. But I even think it was something Pogba never really seen before, that atmosphere at Old Trafford. Like, and they wanted to buy into it straight away, and they did. And it was like you know, Newcastle. They scored in the second half, and for that 10-minute period, they looked like the better team, and they had a chance to go ahead in the game. But as soon as Ronaldo scored again, and we got the second, everything just changed. Like, do you know what I mean? Newcastle couldn't get themselves back into the game. They seemed deflated, and Bruno and Pogba, especially, man, just took over the game. It was mad. Great.
Quality. The tempo. I just thought we were a little bit. It looks like, you know, there is new players in the team. You know, we've only trained, I'd say, you know, a couple of training sessions, and then Varane as well getting into the team. Ronaldo. Sancho as well in that team yesterday. So all the transfers were in that team. So you could, you know, I didn't expect anything proper linkage football or anything. You know, expected exactly what we got, to be honest. Just a lot of flair, a lot of passes towards Ronaldo, even though they were forced. And we always say about Bruno, like, he forces things, but, you know, he can do what he did in that game over and over again, like 30 yards out. The Pogba thing, like we were saying around here, he just needs a good team around him. This is the team that they promised him when they first bought him. This is what they promised him when he came in, that we're going to build a massive team and we're going to get to this stage. Not so slow after they signed him, but we're here now, and just as Glen said there, like, I can only imagine, and you could see it on the telly, but can only imagine what, you know, what was like in that ground. Like, it was non-stop. The little bit of magic for Lingard's goal as well, you know, a lot of a linkage in that, and Lingard to get the goal, it was just sort of vintage, you know. I know it's such a cliche to say, but it was vintage. It was like, even though we can see it, we can come back and score these worldies and just apply that pressure over and over again and break teams like that. Don't forget, this team had 5 at the back. We've struggled so much against a team like that. And this is what they do, these teams, isn't it? They know how to defend against strikers like Ronaldo. This is what they work for. They plank 5 at the back and just, you know, shift across and make it so hard for us. But that bit of that ball from Pogba and the little step over from Martial and the little fake from Lingard, that is just such exactly what we need. That is what we need to break these teams down, to be able to play with that swagger. And who brings that? Ronaldo. You know, the chat he must have had while he was saying something in an interview, I didn't get it completely, but he was saying something about the chat that Ronaldo had in the hotel with them, and you can just...
an initiation, Ray, it was. He was supposed to go up and do a song, you know, the way he stand up and sing. He said that he done that 18 years ago, so he just got up and gave a speech, and I just think that shows the class of Ronaldo.
I think we're
talking about us going on to win the league and the Champions League. You know, how far are we awaiting that, you know, win Champions League glory? Who knows? But when was the last time you heard a player just come out and say that we're probably not mature, we need to be mature enough to go and win the league and the Champions League? You haven't heard that in a long time. Ronaldo was bringing all of his experience and all of his class to the team and the club, and you can see that, and there was a definite response from every player in that team. And the fact that he got up and gave a speech, God knows what he said. But imagine what a young player like Green or Sancho even are looking at that and thinking. Do you know what I mean? It's great. And you're talking about Lingard, like, You know, he got a great reception when he came on, and he's making himself a presence now for Ollie with that. Like, you know, he's at the coming on and scoring. Like, where is he now on the standings of maybe getting a little bit more game time? Like, you know what I mean? Because when you come on and score, you've had an impact, so you probably deserve it. But like, just listening to what people were saying in the Stretford names yesterday, people are not happy with the way Ollie is treating Van de Beek. They're not happy with it at all. They can't wrap their head around it. There was like when Van de Beek was warming up the whole game and all, and people were like, "Come on, Donny," and all. And you know, as the game went on, there was 20 minutes left. People are like, "Is he going to stick him on or not?" You see Donny going over then to the bench, and it looked like he was going off to take his bib off. And then he went back over to back out to warm up. People weren't happy with that. You know, after everything that came out during the week and everything with the interview with Rio and all that, I was expecting a little bit to see a little bit more of Donny, to be honest, but it didn't happen. I mean, how long did he get? He probably only got about 7 or 8 minutes, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. At the time, it was about 8 minutes. But on that, Glenn, do you think Donny, as his personality, came across that interview as a nice lad? Do you think he's a bit too soft, maybe?
No, I think, Roddy, I just think it's something I think we needed to probably see what he's like. You know, because he has been a little bit quiet. You don't hear anything come out of his mouth, and because he hasn't been in and around the starting 11, you don't really hear him give an interview. So I thought he came across very well. How many players do we see come out and have anger towards the manager, maybe in the club for the position that he finds himself in his career in? But he spoke to Ferdinand like a proper professional, and he's basically saying, "I just have to keep up the working hard and change the manager's plans and all." But
one thing in that interview, Glenn, so he's up against the big names here. Like, he's coming on for Greenwood in that match. You know what I mean? It's not like he's going to start ahead of Greenwood.
He's not playing Greenwood's position, though.
Yeah, we know, but I'm just saying who he's coming on for. Like, who else is going to come on for? Pogba, Fernandes, you know, these are our goal scorers.
Matic started yesterday.
This is what I want to say. So, in that interview with Rio, he said, you know, United see me as a number 10 because that's where I played for Ajax when they bought me. But I can't play that number 6 role. And Rio said, do they know that? Do they know you can play that role? And I don't think they do know that. And that's what I mean, like, he's too soft, maybe. Right? I don't know what you think of this one. But maybe he's not showing that I can be in Fred's position or Matic's position and we'll do a job.
I just felt they sounded a little bit desperate, if I'm being honest. I just felt like, listen, there's a spot open in there, number 6. We're crying out for a number 6. You know, I can play number 6. I just need some game time. You know, we're not on the training ground, though, you know. That's where my mind is at. We don't know what's happening on that training ground or what the vibes are and what the players, you know, how he fits in and what the manager says. There's doubt there that he cannot play that 6 on his own or even with a double pivot. You know, we were talking about Matic being in there. I just felt yesterday that would be the right choice beside Pogba. We've seen that combination before when we did have a decent midfield with Herrera, Matic, Pogba and Herrera. Pogba had a good season that time. We had a good season. I just think that's a better combination than Pogba and Van de Beek. You know, who are you gonna take out Pogba and give Van de Beek, put Van de Beek beside Matic? Now that could work because Matic could do that defensive role and be smart with his head and not get caught out of position. You know, even though
Matic is actually one of the players that Donny picked on his top 5.
Yeah, he said interview. So you can tell, you know, and the fact that he came on for 5 minutes for an attacking player that kind of just ran out of legs just says it all, man. And it's not just once, it's a sequence. You know, they don't trust him in the defensive role. He's behind Martial, he's behind Lingard at the moment, and I think there's a reason for that. Every time he's come on, he's looked a little bit flustered. He can't get on. It's not a United attitude. I don't care what anyone says. That's not a United attitude. And maybe I could see that. Maybe that's the reason. There's no doubt there's
What do you mean, Ray? It's not a United attitude, like, as in, like,
I just mean, like, it's not. You're not hungry enough, man. You're not hungry enough.
Came across like
there's no tenacity. You know, he's not getting stuck into tackles. He doesn't want them when he's on the ball. It's not like it's panicky. It's rushy. That's the way I see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just the only one in the fan base that says that, but the fact that like you went on the Rio Ferdinand show as well. If that was Paul Pogba, man, and he was in the situation, and it was about transfer or whatnot, and he mentioned something like that, I want to go or I want to leave, or I can play here, I can play there, something like that along them lines, that might be controversial. There'd be a big split, you know what I mean? But because it's Van der Beek, it's different from the fan base. I just think we haven't seen enough, and I think the level we're at now, the way the team is going, we're esteeming train, I hope, during the season, and you know, if you can't catch that train, you hang on for the next one. Do you like that analogy?
You made that up, Ray, and it was
That
good.
was
I'm going to write that one down.
insane.
I'm going to get
On
that
the ball, yeah. But you
yeah,
get, you know what I mean? I am getting
came on and got. I know we don't count them, but he got a second assist. You know what I mean? We don't count them, but he
Gave the
passed
ball to
Pogba.
Pogba, yeah.
Kept the ball. Pogba
played
nearly
the
lost
ball
it,
to Pogba, and then he did a little run inside to the left, expecting the ball back.
He wasn't going to get it.
He was kind of like, oh, you know, deflated. Come on, stay in it.
Right, do you know what it is for me, boys? It's just the fact that they'll get where you're coming from. Maybe the interview, but you know, it was probably a bit much in some people's eyes. Obviously, in your eyes, right? You're thinking like that, which is grand. But I'm thinking to myself and saying, the chap has to get out there. He's not a brand. He doesn't have clothing lines or anything. He's not big on social media and everything. He was obviously asked to go on to the Rio Ferdinand show by Rio himself. You know what I mean? To get views and all that. And then you look at, like, he would have had to go to the club about that and say, look, I'm going on to the Raphael Varane show. Can I go on? He would have to get permission for that. So that would have been all talked about anyway. He was asked about his position. I thought he answered it very well. I mean, think about the position he's in. The World Cup is next Christmas, and he has to get into that international squad. He was an international player when he came to us. He's not anymore. And you can, like, LVG is the manager of the Netherlands now. He doesn't like us at the moment because of the way he was treated at the club. He feels like he was treated unfairly. So he'd only be happy to leave a player like Van der Beek out if he's not getting game time, and he'd be right. But I just feel yesterday, with the way the crowd was and all the atmosphere, it was a perfect time to throw Donny into the starting 11. To let us see what he's like under that type of pressure. Would the occasion of Ronaldo coming back in the crowd being all for Ronaldo and hyping the team up, would he be able to, you know, stamp his authority on the game? You know, there wasn't instance where he's driving forward, right?
I think otherwise, I think if Ollie would have came off looking mad weak and looking like he has no control over the team, if he just put him in, you know what, every player's going to do that then, you know. He's lucky to even get 5 minutes after that, man. I think Ollie's just, like, I haven't seen anything, but you can sort of read Ollie in interviews. I haven't seen him talk about it or being asked about it, to be honest. But you know, you can read him. You know, you can read his vibes, and if he was annoyed by that sort of thing. Because if I was a manager, and I know you're talking about permission and all, but I don't know, man, I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, but they might stop him going out on loan. That's where I'm coming in from it as well. Like, he's stopping them from playing altogether. That's the big thing. Obviously, you know, there was a conversation had about leaving. We know that. Ollie turned around and came out and says that he wants him to play and that he needs him to play. Or, you know, he needs him. He's impressed with what he's done this season and all. But why is it coming out like to the fact where he stopped him from going out on loan if he's only going to give him 5 minutes? Like, I think, I get what you're saying there, that Ollie might come across weak. That's a good point. But 5 minutes right from the end is nowhere near good enough.
Well, lads, at the same time, I'll read this out quickly there. So Donny said, now we speak to the managers in the club, and they were clear they wanted me to stay here. The manager was really positive about me, and he said, I need you, and I want to keep you here because what I see now is a different Donny. So he's talking about Donny's time at United, seeing him over the year, and now he's starting a new season. So he's built up himself, you know, a bit more mass and a bit more strength over the summer. So I think Ollie's kind of talking about that. You know, I see something else. But boys, are we talking about squad depth here? So all it takes for Donny really is it all that it takes for Donny to get on the pitch is 2 injuries in midfield?
Yeah, that's where I think we're at, and that's where I think Ollie stopped the deal going through. I think with the Pogba situation in mind, the fact that he hasn't signed a contract, and the fact that Lingard's at the same thing now, I think Ollie is looking around and saying, I made the right choice because we're actually probably going to need him. And to ease a player in, I think that's the best way to ease him in off the wings, you know, off an attacking position. And then when he becomes more comfortable and shows something in them attacking positions and shows enough legs that he can cover the pitch, then I think he can, look at the position that he wants to be in, which is more centrally, more deeper. As you know, I do know the fact that he does play a 6 in a double pivot, but he's the sort of deep line playmaker that might not have to think so much defensively. So we have that player in abundance. We have Pogba that can do that. We have himself. We have Bruno that can even play deeper when needed, but they just do not have that defensive mindset where Matic does. And I think the work that they're trying to put on Fred and maybe McTominay when he comes back, you might think that you have that in one more player at least. And then you can tamper with it in the likes of the games against young boys coming up. Ronaldo might be rested for that. I don't know if he'll accept that, but he might, Cavani still has to come in. So you might see Ollie going with something different in that game, keeping in mind the upcoming games in the Premier League where we do need to sort of, we're at the top now. It'd be nice to kind of keep at the top, and this is an opportunity against young boys to give the likes of Donny Van de Beek perfect opportunity there. I'd give him the whole game, because if you can't do it against these, what's going on, man, it just means your mind is not, your mind. If you cannot stamp all over young boys and take the control of the team, just like Bruno did in this Newcastle game and Pogba, then you haven't got it, man. It's been too long. You can't.
I think it's been bad management from Ollie. Bad man management from him in the first place. I mean, you're talking about easing the player in. He's there over a year now, so he should be well eased in. I know what you're saying, but I just feel like he hasn't been given the same chance as other players have. If you want to make sure, you want to let people know that players aren't done with, you have to give them more than 5 minutes. I think, you know what I mean. You have to let the fans see it instead of telling the player you can't go on now because I need you and I want you and I've seen big things from you and you've improved immensely, and then not playing. I mean, we're 4 games in now. I don't really think that's good enough. And a manager like Ollie should know that what it means to play. I mean, he has Phil Jones still there within the squad because he's saying, I know it's like to have a bad knee injury and come back from it, and that's grand. But he also knows what it's like to not be playing or starting games week in, week out. And although he's a legend at United for coming on as a super sub and all, I don't care what anyone says, there had to be games where he felt like he should have been starting and everything. And Van der Beek is the exact same. You know what I mean? You have to remember, this bloke's only 24. So, he needs that arm around the shoulder. And I think he's getting it like at the wrong moments. Like how do you expect him to stamp his authority all over the game, right? If he hasn't and he doesn't feel like he has the confidence of the manager. Because that's the way it feels to me at the minute.
Well, then you put him in a team, sorry, Rory, you put him in a team that he feels that he's on par with. Players around like that, you switch players around him, players that he's comfortable with, like them players that he mentioned are players that actually give him a bit of respect, man. That's what I got from that interview. You know what I mean? That's what I got. I got the fact that he's mentioning these players, is where like his mindset is that these players actually give me the ball. Do you know?
Yeah.
I think he was asked that, wasn't he? He was asked
the ball. Mata always gives people the ball. You know what I mean? So put him in a team like that and let him sort of be the player that turns out on the ball and looks for that pass that Luke Shaw gave to Ronaldo yesterday. Let Donny Van de Beek be that person.
Do you think so? Ray, you're saying there maybe you get a show against the young boys. Do you think this year with the kind of bench that we have that we do need to see more squad rotation from Ollie so that the top players aren't getting burnt out? So Van de Beek is playing midweek against the team that anyone could really be on the United team. I should be able to be.
Yeah, I think, we have a lot of attacking options and now midfield options as well. So I think you can just, keep your back 5 the way they are against this team. So, you can guarantee that solidity in the team. And then you can tinker around, maybe try that one in the holding position against a team like this. Because they're not a great opposition, but the occasion is so big, it'll give someone an understanding. It'll give the fan base, the manager, a good understanding of whether you can do it in bigger games in the Prem against maybe some top 6 opposition or teams trying to get into that top 6 opposition, because of the atmosphere is going to be a little bit more tense You know, it's different environment. You're going to be tested mentally differently. They're not a pushover team, but if you're good defensively, and if you have some attacking options like we even have off the bench, I think we can turn them over. It's a great game for Van de Beek to come in, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure the likes of maybe Sancho will stay in the team because he needs, to settle a little bit more. We're not kind of getting
just on that, Ray and Glen. How was Sancho's performance against Newcastle?
Yeah, it was all right, Rory. He got into a couple of good positions he did down the line and everything, and he was good at overlapping and on, but he didn't really get the final product right. But I mean, he's much quicker than he looks when you're watching him on the telly and everything and all, and his physique and all is top notch. So he will come good for us. There's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of pressure on him because Bale was over nearly 2 years from to come to Old Trafford in the first place, and then that sort had been taken over by Ronaldo mania and everything. But yeah, he looked solid to me. He did yesterday. Yeah, you couldn't really complain about him. The only problem I would have about it yesterday was that Saint Maximin, who if he had a bit of end product in him, would be clinical. And Almiron, they both have some serious pace. That looked to create problems for us at the back at certain points in the game. And when you look at Newcastle's the goal that Newcastle scored, I didn't like that Harry Maguire dived in near the halfway line. If he doesn't dive in there, you know what I mean, and he covers the space, they don't score.
Yeah.
So no, that you could. It's not. I don't want to come across and criticise him, but it would just feel like maybe the occasion got to Maguire a little bit at that moment. But it's stuff like that.
It was a bad decision.
You'd have to take it out there, wouldn't you? You'd go through him and take him down. I'd say. I think that was.
He tried to get in on him, and he mistimed it. Almiron was too clever, got past him. I'm saying he should have never left himself in that position in the first place. He should have just dropped off, because I feel like things like that will obviously cost you games. And we're not going to have the game that we had yesterday every week. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he probably could have been a little bit cleverer there. And within that 10-minute period, then they could have gone ahead, which would have obviously changed the game big time in their favour. Like, it would have probably showed us, it would have been a big test of character. But I just feel that moment was the one moment that stuck out to me, where it was like, that needs to be sorted out. I hope there was a good conversation had about that after the game.
On that, Glenn, because we noticed, so Maguire went in for the tackle and then he gets up and, Newcastle are breaking basically 2-on-1 with Varane there. Matic and Maguire were strolling back. And then
I don't think he was strolling back, Roddy. I just think Almiron, Almiron is so quick.
I watched it again. And when Varane's beaten, Varane goes in for the tackle and he's beaten, then they start sprinting. And it's too late.
Before the man took the shot then. Yeah.
So they're sprinting in between Varane getting beaten and the goal. But before that, they're strolling.
Boys, your man Almiron has some serious pace.
He's a rocket, man. I do agree with that.
Pace. And so has your man Maximin. They are so quick.
Have to watch that again, I'll have to watch that one again now. You wouldn't accept.
No, Roddy, I just felt, sorry, Ray, I just felt that it was the pace. That's, like, do you know what I mean? I didn't see the game back, so I don't know.
It did look like you were like one step ahead, one step behind them from that missed tackle from Maguire. They were always just waiting for us, basically. You know what I mean? They were just waiting and waiting. And playing the ball at the right time, and then they were on the same level, so there's not much you could do about that goal. I will say that. Like, you could argue that Varane was kind of, he sort of dived in a little bit and turned his back a little bit or something. It was weird, but look, they're only there. It's the second game together. We said it that before Varane came in. I think it was you, Rory, that said it. Like, you don't want the pressure to mount on Maguire now, because you're not going to have really any doubt about Varane. He's come in, he's looking after Wan-Bissaka. He's like Glen was saying there, he's seen him all game, looking after him. Now, you don't want Maguire to kind of come out and look like he's the weak link in that, where it was the other way around. Like, I hope it's not a pattern. I hope they can develop that sort of vintage partnership that we were used to, because the components are in place, man. The right players there. Varane, like, it's such a signing, man. I know Ronaldo just blows everyone's minds, but the importance of Varane for us is massive. This is, you can even see the midfield 3 or 4 yards further on, even Matic. You know, usually we used to seeing him in the D, even when we're building up, but this time we were actually, you know, above the D, around into their half, just trying to box them in. And because of that, we got a chance to play in their outside their box in them dangerous areas. We were saying we're just one step ahead from it.
What I liked as well, Ray, was Maguire getting forward, which we saw him do with England in the Euros. So he had one or two runs where he's getting up there and he's running into space. No one's coming on to him, so he just keeps going.
Unbelievable the shift we're after having this summer transfer.
Yeah, but I just want to ask you there, because you mentioned Wan-Bissaka, right? What do we think of Wan-Bissaka coming down that right? Is there work that needs to be done there? That end ball doesn't seem
massive
to
work.
he's
Massive. I think it's massive work. I think you see all the time the ball looks like it's just gets caught on his feet. I think he played a back pass as well, wasn't it? That was very short, and the striker Newcastle were on it. Things like that, man. You know, there's a reason why Varane is brought in there. He's doing what he's doing. You know, there's a reason for that. Not everyone would want you to be on that case every game, but if you feel yourself it's coming off the training ground or such, or from a manager's point of view, saying, you know, listen to Varane or whatnot, you're going to take that. So there's an issue there. We're aware of it. You know, the backup right back would have been an absolute 10 out of 10 transfer window. You know, just to push Wan-Bissaka on. And you know, Trippier, I thought always when that came through, and not many people didn't, but I honestly thought that would have been a great signing as well, given the experience beside Varane there. You know, after playing, he would have been such a great Champions League player, man. That would have been an unbelievable Champions League back for that. But you know, hopefully now he can just, you know, drop off, do his bits going forward. You know, give the ball in the right areas and just work. Stay as good as he is defensively. I think we'd be all right, you know.
My worry with that is that I've seen no improvement in Wan-Bissaka in terms of his going forward. And I know he's a defender and he's a defender right back. He loves to defend. He's great tackler and all, but there's been no improvement in terms of his distribution, crossing the ball into the box or anything. He's like that player that you have, a schoolboy player where you really like him because you know what he can do. But when he's in certain positions on the pitch, you know it's just not going to work out. You know what I mean? You wouldn't hold your breath. There was an area of frustration yesterday when the ball came out to him because he wasn't willing to get to the byline and say like Gary Neville and David Beckham did years ago, where Neville had bomb on past Beckham, he'd lay it onto the byline and he crossed in. There was none of that from him, you know what I mean? Now I know he's in there to defend, but again, like this is where you're looking. You're talking about squad depth, Roddy. If Diego Dalot there, who again we stopped going to Inter Milan or AC Milan, and we stopped them from going to Borussia Dortmund. These are the games that you probably need an attacking right back on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like we can't be expecting these players to come in and do well for the team when they're getting little or no game time. That's just another example of it there. I know you need a settled squad and a settled back four, but if you're changing one of your right backs or your left backs, I don't think that's as big an issue as if you were changing your centre back partnership. But at the moment, I haven't seen anything from Wan-Bissaka to suggest that he's going to improve going forward. Like, but you know, talking about
some games, he does have howlers as well. Like.
Oh Jesus, Rory, yeah. But
Shaw on the left, much more consistent.
Yeah, you wouldn't change Shaw, Roddy. It'd be hard to change Shaw now, you know what I mean? Because he has been, as you said, there consistent for the last 18 months. Do you know what I mean? You're looking at Wan-Bissaka, who's good for us. He does a job against the big teams. You think of Sterling, you just have him in his pocket at times. What we're talking about, players probably getting a chance. Again, Dalot's one of them. If you're going to keep him, you have to let him come on in a game like Newcastle, maybe, you know what I mean? Or even start, because you know you're going to have lots of the ball. You've Ronaldo in there who needs, proper service coming in, maybe from their positions. But if you're talking about improvement and all, David De Gea has improved since in the summer. He made a great save to stop it from going 2-1. No, straight at him and all, but again, it was hit with some pace, pushed it over the bar, and his distributions are improving as well. He's not panicky or that. Do you know what I mean?
Henderson's nowhere to be seen. He's not tracking, De Gea's footprints, and De Gea's just comfortable, man. He's just comfortable knowing it's a mentality thing, isn't it? If someone
all he does manage to throw Henderson's name in every now and again.
Yeah, he's
in interviews and stuff to say, "Oh, Henderson back soon." I'm like, why are we talking about that?
Yeah, just let that go, man.
I do want to ask you.
Believe I ever dealt with De Gea, like, sorry, just
I think you did, but I think you were.
I can't believe it. Yeah, just can't believe it.
I want to talk about the 2 contracts. So that's Lingard and Pogba. So Pogba's is basically up at the end of the year. So is it that you're not going to try and get a few quid from them, Glen, in the January market?
No, because they won't get any money from him. That's the thing, Roddy. No one's going to take him in January just because he's free to sign for whoever he wants in January. My worry would be that he'd probably go to Madrid because Mbappe looks like he's going to sign a pre-contract in January. Mbappe is in the French team, Pogba's in the French team. It makes sense. As we've said before, loads of times on here, that you'd be looking Pogba's last big contract, you know what I mean? But you would be hoping, all the club are hoping that Ronaldo coming in, it'd make Pogba want to commit his future to the club. I've been usually critical of Pogba in the past, and he's he's making me eat my own words, he is, which is great. Again, yesterday I thought he had a very good game. His walk off the ball was great. He was getting stuck into your man St. Maximin as well. Who was Newcastle's most dangerous player, really. You know what I mean? When he was breaking through, it was Pogba that was trying to cover him. And as I said, get stuck in. But I feel like if we're to lose him in January, it'd be a pre-contract Rory and it'd be Real Madrid. But at the moment, I'd hate to see him go because I feel like we're seeing the very best of Pogba at the moment in all aspects of his game, really. And now we could lose him on a free, which would be bad. But again, I suppose you could look at it and say if we want to win the Premier League, maybe, or even the Champions League, a sneaky Champions League win there, and he was to leave, it'd probably salvage what has been not the best 6 years, you know what I mean, for performance-wise. Like, but if you have to do something like that, he used to leave, then you wouldn't be able to hold it against him. But as I said to you yesterday, he was jamming the crowd up and all. He was up for it. He fed off the atmosphere yesterday, and I hope it stays that way all through the season, both from him and from the fans. Like,
I think for having Ronaldo in there, we'll keep that going. But I want to ask you then about Lingard. So, Lingard, I think he scored a goal in pre-season, and now he's got a goal in the league. What do you reckon? He says he wants to go, but what do you think is going to happen there?
I don't know. I think he's just, he's just playing the smart one again, just like Pogba, just sitting out and waiting, seeing what the club offer him and how hungry are they actually for him to be at the club, his contract will go down. All the power is in his hands. There's not much we can do then, so he can just pick his club really, and get a better contract because they're not paying anything for him. So it's a smart move if from a player's point of view. I think he wants to be in the England setup, so I think that's a big point for him. I think he wants to be playing as much as possible. Whether Ollie can walk around getting the right time for him and getting him, some starts because he's fit, he's ready. He has a goal in him. He looks like he's back to his old self in terms of his mentality, which is huge. Confidence is grown. He's scoring for England and all. So he's a valuable player. I think how much time is he gonna get is when Rashford comes back, that's gonna be an issue as well. So it's a smart move. Just wait till it plays out. As much as you love the club and as much as you want to be here, you have to be playing at his age as well. He's 28, like he's not a youngster anymore. You have to be playing.
The big question for you is, were you nervous before the game that Fred wasn't starting?
No, not really.
Why you not?
No,
I don't believe
because
it.
Matic and Pogba works, man. You know,
Yeah,
Matic and
yeah.
Pogba really works. I know it's a pity because Matic is not in his prime anymore, and in his prime he was one of the best in that position. You know, I always said like Matic is coming to an end. He's losing his legs because he's exposed a lot when we don't have the team around him. But with that team around him, with the attacking options that we have at the moment, and with players making runs off players' shoulders and all, it can make it look great.
Mm.
Delaying that pass a little bit extra, giving you a little bit more time on the ball. There was a lot of connections between Pogba and Matic there, just little 5 yard passes.
Mm.
Changing the point of attack. They have a good connection. I like that. I liked that. I wouldn't have liked to see Donny Van de Beek in there. Honestly, I think we would have been in danger. Or Fred. Fred could probably do the same job as Matic on a good day, just a little bit more energetic. That wasn't much to do in that game. Like Matic was getting involved even on the wings a couple of times,
Mm.
holding little balls up around the wing area and letting people overlap him and all. Getting corners out stuff and all. And he was
So
really
what do you
involved.
think?
You don't really see Fred do that.
Will we see Fred come back in then? Once he's
Yeah.
I think,
on
yeah,
it, then we'll be back
yeah,
in now.
yeah. He'll be back into the team. Yeah, definitely be back in just beside Pogba.
Mm.
I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see.
Well, it'd be
Because
interesting to see, and I hope it's not working. That's someone fucking realised.
where that position works for Pogba, just to go back to the point where, Glenn was talking about overlapping and all.
Mm.
Our overlap, or that sequence of play that we're used to, is between Pogba and Wan-Bissaka now. It's a ball into Pogba and Pogba whipping the ball
Mm.
around the corner for a run off Ronaldo or Bruno. So I
Yeah,
think
that's
that,
not what was happening yesterday. Do you know what happened a couple of times yesterday? I noticed it was that ball was coming into Pogba, and Wan-Bissaka was making the run in front of Greenwood, leaving Greenwood out wide then to get the ball to whip it in. That's what we done a couple of times yesterday as well. And I thought that was very interesting because I was thinking, who can whip a ball in, Wan-Bissaka or Greenwood? So obviously we were talking about that, saying, look, get Greenwood out there, he'll be able to whip the ball in maybe for Ronaldo's head. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I just want to say, can I just say something about the whole Lingard thing? Because I just found something really interesting. He's definitely playing the game. I don't want to stay on this too long because I know we move past. He's definitely playing the game. He's probably right to do it. But when you look at it, Dan James went to Leeds for 30 million, right? Lingard was on loan at West Ham last season, doing very well when he went to West Ham, forced himself back into the England team, didn't make it in the end to the Euro squad, unfortunately for him. But West Ham were willing to pay 30 million for him. Now, they mightn't have had the money outright, but I'm sure the clubs could have came to some sort of arrangement in terms of, a fee up front and then add-ons, as that's the way a lot of transfers are working. No one else really came in for Lingard, though. I found that, like, a talent sign. Do you know what I mean? Like, that there is no real interest in him, you know what I mean, from other clubs. And I don't think, our asking price, if it's 30 million and no one's willing to match it, then, if Lingard's going on a free in next season, then I don't think it's as big a loss as obviously what Pogba would be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, then when you look at the whole Fred situation, you were talking about Ollie looking weak, Ray, in terms of the Van der Beek stuff. Well, I think there was a lot made in the media and on social media and all about Fred and the Brazilian players that were supposedly not allowed to start or were going for quarantine issues and all that. There was a lot of talk going around about, Fred being Ollie's baby and all. And I think that Fred didn't start because of all that, because it would have looked like that, you know what I mean? No matter what, Fred's in that squad, and that's why I think Matic started. But
was
Fred
he clear to play? Was he clear to play?
He was clear to play. Yeah, it came out the night before. I think.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Friday night it came out that he was available to play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think Ollie just knew he couldn't or can't start him. You know that way. Like that's the way I look at it. So.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was that he couldn't play. But listen, I like the Matic. I like that Matic setup. Matic and Pogba. It's just a lot of experience there.
Newcastle don't really have a lot of legs in around him, though, right? That's the thing when you come up against the players, the Chelseas, your Liverpool's. You know what I mean? What are we going to do? The Man Cities of this world, like when if you go further into the Champions League and everything, like it's not really going to work with Matic. Don't get me wrong, he did play well yesterday. I've liked him his whole time at the club. I have. You know what I mean? I thought he was one of Mourinho's best signings, but we can't get away from the fact that you said it, his legs are gone. And there's going to be games where they're going to be running into the ground. So
who's going to fill that, Glen? Is it you see Fred filling that successfully?
No, I would have liked to see, as I said, I would have liked to see Van de Beek get a shout in there. And although I agree with Ray and what Ray said, he made a great point about Van de Beek probably not starting because it make Ollie look weak. I'd take that, yeah, no problem. Like, I understand that. But I still think he should have got at least a half hour. I do. Yeah. So I'd see maybe Van de Beek over Fred. But lads, it's not going to happen. Like, you know, because
I believe in a player being able to change his whole game up. You know, and the one thing on Van de Beek's time, he has time. Like, so you know, if you're talking about a total mind change of style of playing, maybe that's on the cards, lads.
If Van de Beek got as much time as Fred has got to change his style to fill that position, I think we'd have an amazing player there. Because Fred, Ray, you said it, like, they're giving him time, they're working on him, and some games it works, and then some games it just doesn't work. And
he's not consistent, man. He's not consistent, man. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, like, there's definitely been a huge improvement in Fred. There has. You know what I mean? From when he first came into the team. But you have that way, you know, 2 or 3 games is all right, and then there's 2 or 3 games where on the trot where he's not okay. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, you know, if the game against the Wolves, Fred's performance in that game, you know, warranted him to be taken off. He wasn't. He got the whole game. Same as Southampton. And if you put Van de Beek in that bracket, if he had had that sort of game in one of them games, or if he had the sort of performance for a 10 or 20 minute period in the game, he'd be taken off.
Yeah. And I remember when Alex Ferguson was managing United, players would often say, I was having a howl at that game and I was taken off, and it was no surprise to me that I was. Fred's having a howler, he's left on. Like, it's a strange one for me, boys, but
he wasn't missed yesterday, boys. That's the thing.
He has amazing energy.
He does have good energy. Yeah.
Well, like, in the team, talking about the top 6 teams there, you're going to need a player like that. You might need a tactical change, someone like a Lingard coming on and just harassing people, starting the game even. You know, you take away from some of that attacking options there. You take away from that, but you make a tactical move to have players like Fred in there or Lingard to stop the opposition from playing, to stop people from, getting that out ball all the time. That changes that, make someone like a Liverpool look so good. Cut out that ball to, what's his name, Arnold. Cut that ball out to him and don't let him play long all the time. Lingard, you do that job. There you go. You take that away from Liverpool, you might be able to, nullify them or whatever it may be. We have so many options. That's the beauty of it, man. We have so many options.
Well, yeah, boys, we started to talk about Ronaldo and we'll finish. I'll just throw in his quote here. So Ronaldo says, the reception was incredible. I was thinking last night that I wanted to show I'm still capable of helping the team. When I started the game, I was super nervous when they were singing my name, but this crowd is unbelievable. And boys, he put on an amazing show. But I want to jump into our fantasy football league, so let's get to it.
It's a wonderful run from Giggs! Sensational goal from Ryan Giggs in the second period of extra time.
So, boys, fantasy football, it's a big, big week because
of the league.
Glen's been working on his team.
Have you?
Working.
I haven't looked at that.
Now, Ronaldo, you got him straight in.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, boys. My starting team is good. If we get any injuries, I'm knackered. That's the way it's going to go. I didn't start this off well. I didn't pick the right team, the right players to start off with. I'd probably be ahead of you, Rory, but I lost a couple of points because I brought in Kante and I brought in Ronaldo and I brought in Lloris. Lloris let me down because you can see the tree. You know what I mean? But I feel like if we can keep players fit, or if they stay fit for me, then I'll be up there. I'll have to make them changes.
So I have a couple of players that left.
Transfers, is it, Glen?
What?
You got the minuses on the transfers.
Yeah, because I think I lost 16 points You know what I mean? So they took
they
them
good.
16 off me. So I would have really had 56 points this week. But look, I'm learning on it. I'm not that used to it. I tried to be too clever.
Oh, you can't
I don't
keep
know.
saying that. You can't keep
I
saying
did, but man,
that. And now Kante's injured.
yeah, they couldn't take him out because my bench is no use. That's the thing. It's hard to sell players on to get the right players in.
And Ray, you're smashing it. You're consistently getting high scores. We're all below average at the moment.
I just know what I'm
Ray,
doing.
you're coming in. I'd say you've a sub coming off the bench there. So you've Coleman maybe to play.
Yeah.
I'd say you're coming in with 45 points.
Well, you've only got Roddy because Liverpool are playing today.
Yeah, so you got 3 there from Jadon Glen, so you're on 44 points. So Ray will probably come in a bit ahead of you, and I've 2 subs coming off the bench.
Bruno Glen there.
And Richarlison to play tomorrow. So I'll come in about as well.
Huh?
You have Bruno captain.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing, though, boys. I know you should change that every week. I just haven't been changing it. Like, do you know what I mean? You just give you change it every week. Like,
if this Fabio Silva captain up front, how do you change that?
Yeah, boys. Listeners are going to be listening to this going, what are these going on about? Get on there and walk around it. Don't be going on like you don't know what you're doing. You're top of the league. I hate that.
Smart. That was such a good team. Such a good team.
You're walking on it.
Yeah, I do need to move a couple of things around. I have a couple of players there that are gone. Troy Deeney, you know what I mean? I put him into the team because I thought he'd pop up with the odd goal, but he's gone. Birmingham City. The keeper, Sonnegrand or whatever his name is gone. He must be gone to the Championship as well. So I need to get rid of him. I'm gonna get Ronaldo myself. I had Son in the team and I switched it around at the last minute, but he was popping up with a few goals, man. So I thought a couple of changes there.
Sticking Moraes in there is all right, but you need a good substitution because he doesn't always play. So you've missed him this week. One good thing for you.
I'm not as bad as Glen, but
one great thing for you. Just happen out in there, right? Your points won't kick in until the games are over. But you had Fabio Silva there for Wolves as captain. He didn't play. Yeah,
shocking.
So points. Your captain then goes to your vice captain, and you have Alisson in as your vice captain. So you get double points for Alisson, and Alisson got 9.
Stop, boys. I'm running away with it. Give us the cup.
Running away with it already, Glen.
Get that cup ready.
Tell you what, dust it off, is it? Listen, come here. I'll never give up, man. I feel like, as I said, I was a strong enough team there now to try and my starting team, my subs are bleeding brilliant, but that's what I had to do, boys, to get the players in. You know what I mean?
They're always brilliant, man.
So I would say.
But Glen, that's 16 points knocked you. You know, you should have probably thought about if you're going to change the whole team, then you do that free hit. It's called. Do it where, like, you don't get charged those minus 16 points. You can do it.
Yeah, but that's only for the game. That's only for the weekend. But
no, there's one. Sorry, wild card is the one. It's called wild card, and that's you can do as many transfers as you want, and you don't get deducted those points. You can only do it once per half a season.
So we'll do that. We'll do that tomorrow. When you see the team, we're going to have tomorrow now, boys. Yeah. But I'm just playing it. Look, I was expecting to be last anyway. I was. Do you know what I mean? I'll make me move.
Last day was free. You were expecting it.
You're expecting to be forced, you.
Yeah, I was expecting.
He was.
We'll pick these players and all. I'll pick Xavier and all. Everyone's looking around.
I admit, I was trying to be too clever. I was trying to be too clever. It's at the back forward and all. But
if I had a walk,
you're only getting a plastic trophy anyway, right?
Yeah, you have two and Xavier's your vice captain.
No, I didn't. I shouldn't have that. That shouldn't happen. It should have been Maguire, and I was only thinking about that.
You haven't even got Maguire on the pitch. Maguire's not even in your team.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah, I let him go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll sort it out, boys. Yeah, he's embarrassing me now. He's stop picking him.
Listen, you're last.
It's only early, lads. It's only early. We're only getting.
I forgot to change my captain. So my captain was Bamford, sorry. He did no use. So boys, anyway,
spanking today. They were from Liverpool. Fucking hell.
They missed the game, man, but knocked it on. It was 3-0. Was there like 1 minute to go or something? It's gonna be heated.
Next week fixture is against West Ham. We have a game against Young Boys during the week. What day is that on, Ray? Actually, remind me.
Tuesday.
The Young Boys.
Yeah, Tuesday. Okay.
Tuesday.
So, boys, we'll be back then. Anyone
In the
listening,
second
you can
week.
follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then you can actually get the podcast, the audio version, on Spotify, Podbean, and Google Podcasts. So wherever you listen to your stuff, really, just tune in there, give us a like and a follow and a subscription. Not asking too much there, am I right?
Viva Ronaldo, boys.
Viva
Viva Ronaldo. He's over my shoulder there. Can you see him? Yup. Fucking delighted with him,
And
yeah.
you're all out. I love it, man. We'll have to get more of those videos out that you got. They're unreal. But lads, talk to you then, right?
Yeah, say that, boys. Yeah.
Yeah, man.